Old swimming hole. $1 million? Well, that would be cheap. But even if you had $1 million, the hole is gone. You can take your Hollywood pools, the tumbling surf of Atlantic City, the chill of a mountain lake in Maine, but for sheer fun in the water, I'd trade them all for a rustic pond and its gentle memory. This is paradise. But even paradise isn't perfect. Cheese it. Here comes the constable. Modern youth knows nothing of the old swimming hole's noisy gaiety. Trick events like this obstacle race underwater are more to their liking. First, our girlies must undress underwater. And with the camera grinding, they have as much privacy as a bowl full of goldfish. Then they swim through barrels at the risk of scraping the skin off their pretty little noses. Finally, if they have any breath left, they wiggle through automobile tires. Such fun. What's this? Don't tell me, let me guess. Shades of James J. Braddock, it's boxing underwater. Now, how can you shove a knockout punch through that much aquapura? Even Dempsey couldn't do that. The referee has just as tough a time as the fighters, or maybe he's training to be a submarine or a sucker fish. He may think it's fun, but he's a sucker to take on a job like that. I'll bet that referee guesses who the winner is, just as most referees do. Here's water boxing under an alien. They call this tilting, but they're doing more than tilting. They're going overboard. The female of the species is more deadly in a bathing suit than in any other attire, particularly when she has a boxing glove on the end of a lance to work with. Oh, sisters, sisters, don't you remember what your mother said? Hang your clothes on a hickory limb, but don't go near the water. Well, there's one left. Hail to the Queen! Fun in the water starts as a simple proposition, such as the old swimming hole offers. But eventually, it gets as complicated as an elephant doing a toe dance on a tight wire. This doesn't look difficult, acting as a spoke for a wheel, but try it sometime and find out how wrong you are. It takes a degree of muscular coordination that isn't developed by knitting, contract bridge, or lolling on a sandy beach. No, sir, you just have to be an athlete. And just to prove it, we'll have the young man do the trick backwards. Upsy-daisy. Now, here's what I call real fun in the water, particularly with one of those sun-kissed California blondes. Shooting the chute on a surfboard is as pleasant a way of spending a hot afternoon as anyone could find. Considering that there weren't any cuties at the old swimming hole, maybe this idea isn't so bad. Old man gravity does all the work, and you let nature take its course. A surfboard, a pool, and thou, baby, and what care I what nature does, even if the romance ends up with a great big splash. Horses, horses everywhere, and not a drop to drink. No, that isn't the right quotation. Anyway, Burbank crossed an orange with a lemon to get a grapefruit, and somebody crossed bronco busting with water sports to get this goofy combination. Of all the teeth-rattling, spine-jarring games ever invented, this is the prize. But it would be tougher if the horses were bucking over a picket fence instead of water. Whoop, hang on there, sister, if you don't want to get that bathing suit wet. Now for the ultimate in water sport, water polo, if you're fond of dying by strangulation. It's one of the roughest games ever invented and demands not only speed, but extraordinary stamina. The idea, if you're trying to ram that bloated ball into the goal, the idea seems to be for the defending players to pull you under and hold you there until you've swallowed practically all the pool. Now, all this is supposed to be fun, but I'd just as soon hunt tigers or jump 5,000 feet in a parachute. Here comes a fellow dribbling the ball up the pool, the other storming toward him with blood in their eyes. I mean water in their eyes. There it goes. It's a loose ball. It's anybody's. Whoop, he got it back. Now don't let him get it away from you. Step on it, boys. Step on it. Shoot that ball. There it goes into the net. If water polo demands stamina, diving requires grace, and you can't attain that without a lot of practice. These paper hooks tell the story better than words. If you do anything wrong, keep your head too high, for instance, or kick with your heels, you tear the paper. It doesn't take much of a mistake to get a bad mark either. This fellow must be at the foot of his class. Wow! There's more than one way to kill a cat, and there are several ways to learn to dive. Here are beginners ready to get started with the aid of ropes and body clamps. Dive without touching water. Attain a swan-like grace that would turn the man on the flying trapeze green with envy without even getting the torso wet. This rope doohickey is guaranteed to make a good diver of anybody from 8 to 80. It's good, clean fun, but it might be cleaner if the pupils hit the water once in a while. It looks like a swell idea, but after all, most of the champions learned without mechanical gadgets, and they seem to be doing all right. Thousands of people think diving is the most interesting of water sports, and I agree with them. So we'll look at the champions showing their stuff. There are dozens of different kinds of tricks, like this back dive, or this back jackknife. You can take your gainers and jacks and whatnots. The swan can't be surpassed for beauty and grace. But this perfectly executed 1.5 flip is much more difficult. Fancy diving is hard to master, and you can do yourself a lot of damage if you're clumsy. But it's something you must do to have real fun in the water. Here's stunt stuff from 2 boards, real aquatic acrobatics. What's this bit of tricky work? That calls for real muscular control. Come on back, fellow, let's see it in reverse. There's a 140-footer. Do it wrong and pay for it with a cracked skull. All diving is fun and has its thrill. Learn to do it some way, even if you can't master a half twist or swan from 2 boards. It's fun in the water, fun for the diver, fun for the spectator, fun even for these clowns who come sailing down and get paid for it.